We're going to get through this. Miracle worker. Miracle worker. Got my wife up here because she stood through it the entire time. I was told a long time ago that it's better to know God and then not need Him than to need Him and not know Him. April 19th, 18th, April 18th. Just finished working. You know, I'm a worker. Sorry. Had finished, delivered my last bits of water and all. Got in, upstairs doing my diary. My wife and I are watching the program. It's time for my shower. Then I got my shower. And usually when I get my shower, I close the bedroom door. So the shower door's closed, the bathroom door's closed, bedroom door's closed, no one's gonna hear me. This one night, I left the bedroom door open. When you soak my body down, and when I turned to allow the water to wash off, a pain hit me. I never experienced that type of pain before in my life. Screamed out for my wife. Rest! Rest! She came running in. By the time she got in, I was trying to get out of the tub. The first thing we did, scream out to Jesus. Jesus! 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 By the time we got settled, when we got settled, then she called 911. Jesus first. 911 afterwards. The EMTs came. And as strange as it sounded, we live in a small cottage. Bedrooms are close. So you have 3 MTs entering the house, coming up the steps, loud radio, they're talking amongst each other. They got some type of seat for me to sit in. They're making noise. My wife's making noise. Everyone's making noise. My grandson and daughter in the rooms next to us did not hear a word. God's protection. Because if we had them come out and see the condition I was in, imagine what else would have gone on in the house. So they actually got informed of my sickness at about 5 o'clock in the morning. EMTs took me down the steps, and even then, I was looking down on myself of them taking me down the steps. I don't remember much of the ride to the hospital. They told my wife, you go ahead, because they had to prep me. By now, I'm bringing up blood in a bucket, not knowing what's going on. I don't remember the ride to the hospital. I remember seeing Bishop. May rest in peace, my father. I saw them there. I don't remember much else there. My wife told me that from Bishop that I was praising the Lord. I was giving God glory. And there was a question of why is he praising the Lord? Does he realize what type of condition is he in? I'm just praising the Lord. That's what I knew. That's in my heart. That's in my spirit. I'm praising the Lord. And not even knowing much about what was happening there. People were coming in and seeing me. I didn't remember them. I didn't know of them. And what my wife had received was negative faces from the doctors and nurses. He's not going to make it. As Bishop said, they sent him a dead man overseas. He's not going to make it. He's not going to make it. But they were going by what they knew. That's what they say. He's not going to make it. The condition that I had, in actual fact, they say 20 minutes is about all you're allowed to live. Fast forwarding into Johns Hopkins, I had an Asian nurse come in to me in ICU, and she told me that her uncle had the exact same condition that I had and died on the spot. I don't remember the ride to the hospital. I don't remember the ride to the air ambulance. Their bishop was there, cousin of mine, kissed me on my head. He was saying goodbye. My daughter, my grandson was there. Dear friend of mine, my boy, because he spoke to me and he said that was my response to him. My boy. I remember all of that. And a dear adopted daughter of mine who was there, because that was even mentioned that Daddy Jasmine's here. Oh Lord. And this was all I don't remember any of this. Completely out of it. My wife's telling me things on the side because I can't remember it all. I jotted it down, but I'm not going to try and read it. When I had the pains in my chest, all of my legs, both legs, all of my legs, I only got two. Both of my legs ice cold, and I kept saying, I can't feel my legs. I can't feel my legs. Man of wisdom standing there beside me. He had anointed a handkerchief at the hospital, and all he was doing was rubbing my legs, rubbing my legs, rubbing my legs. And to have someone like this on your side, awesome. And I know that he was taking control or seizing the atmosphere. I knew that. And I thank you, Bishop, for that. I don't remember the flight to Baltimore. My pressure was so high, they said that they fly extra low. Any higher, I wouldn't have made it. Right? Remember, they already said I was lucky. I don't believe in luck. I was lucky to get to the hospital. I was lucky to get to the airport. I was lucky to get into Baltimore. And when I arrived in Baltimore, the doctor said what they had written about me was worse than when they had received me. So when they said Randall Eve is here, and this is what I learned from my wife, people just jumped up and started moving, start moving about, getting around. The last thing I told my wife, which I still don't remember, victory is mine. As I went into the operating room, victory is mine. Victory is mine 2017. This is it. This is what we've been taught. This is what's in my mind. And 13 hours later, 13-hour operation, I had a doctor working on the upper half of me, doctor working on the lower half of me, and they say it was the best two in the United States to be operating on me at that time. I thank God for that. It was a long process for me, and as you know, I didn't realize I was in a coma until after we got the ladder, because they kept trying to wake me. I had tubes in every area of my body, right? And one thing about hospitals, pride goes out the window. I had tubes in all parts of my body, but I kept feeling the draft. And I give, for those in the medical field, I thank you and I praise you. Because there's so much that they go through. Cleaning you up, bathing you, fixing the pillow or shooting me up or trying to get me comfortable nights. They kept trying to wake me. And all I remember was people around me, surrounding my bed, trying to wake me up. I didn't know what had happened to me. I didn't have my glasses on. I didn't know where I was. I thought I had been shot. I had just left Canada 2 days ago. And the family I was living with, they actually ministered to gangs, with gang violence. So I thought that someone had seen me leaving their house and shot me. So I was just completely out of it. And all I was asking was just write something down for me, tell me, I don't know where I am. But they kept saying, you're in Johns Hopkins. You're in Johns Hopkins. You've had major surgery. I didn't know what was happening. I was completely lost with regards to that. And even with regards to Johns Hopkins, when I was in Bermuda, I was unconscious. And my wife told me this, that I just awoke and said to the doctors there, Johns Hopkins, and went back up. The doctors told my wife, we have a room available at another hospital. My wife says, what did my husband say? We there in Johns Hopkins. I give honor and glory to the nurses and the doctors who actually worked on me. And like I said, they were trying to wake me up. There was this one nurse there that was trying to wake me, and I remember it clear as day. She had the green smock, what you call them, scrubs. She has green scrubs on. Her head was pulled back in a ponytail. She had black and silver hair. And she said to me, Mr. Eve, Jesus hasn't brought you this far to let you go now. After operation, after becoming awake, we went looking for this nurse. There was no such nurse that worked in ICU. There's little things and strange things at how God operates. Okay. It's trick. Because this came as a shock to me as it did to most of you. A friend of mine, dear friend of mine, felt relieved when his son was shown. And his son, he is a golfer. He tries to hit a couple of balls. And when he went to play golf this certain day, he actually pulled out a golf ball out of his bag. And on that golf ball was Johns Hopkins Hospital. There was his peace of mind that God knows it's going to be all right. It's amazing how God operates in such mysterious ways. But finally, after I think 3 to 5 weeks, they woke me up when I got up finally. On dialysis. Out of the 6 weeks I was there, I was on dialysis, I think 5 weeks while I was there. And those who are on dialysis, I have the highest regard for you because of what you have to go through. I'm off dialysis now. Thank you, God. I thank the Lord for that because it's not an easy thing, just dialysis. You're sitting there. For me, it was actually 2 hours, and then they broke it down to an hour and a half. I came back to Bermuda. I did 1 session of dialysis, and the doctor said, you may not have to go back. You may be all right this time. And they actually told me that in Johns Hopkins that you may not have to stay on it because your kidneys have come back around. You know, I was excited. It's amazing how you get excited for little things in hospitals, right? I said, doctor, I'm peeing. I'm all right. You know, I thought that's what it was about. As long as I could pee, I'm all right. Urinate, sorry, you know. Little things like that. It's amazing because then the questions come off with, okay, have you had a movement? Have you had a movement? Have you had a bowel movement? Oh, it's been a couple of days now, Bob. We might have to give you some help. Can I tell you it's good to have this man on your side? Help. So they gave me help in 2 different ways. Right? And I think a day or so later, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Don't go in there. Hallelujah. Amazing, because after we came out of the ICU, they had me up on the cardiology ward, and that's where I had to basically get up again and start walking because I hadn't walked in 6 weeks. It's amazing. Don't take for granted getting up from your seat and walking. Don't take that for granted. They have to teach you again or show you the proper way to sit and eat your food. You know, and I'm a fast eater. I had to take my time and eat my food. Gracious, I had nurses out there. I had a caregiver who was worse than the nurses. I couldn't sneak anything in. You know, I love that woman over there. Once we got up to my walking again, things were getting better. Then they moved me up to rehab. And that's God answering prayers again. Because they were talking about me going off campus or out of Johns Hopkins to another rehab center. And we just didn't really want that because we had enjoyed our time here. When we got into the rehab, we had made so many friends. Unbelievable. And my wife, her plan was to renew our vows May 23rd in Bermuda. May 23rd, we were over there. And she had just mentioned to one of the nurses that we want to renew our vows. And she said, well, if we have to renew them by his bedside, we're going to do it. And it's amazing how God puts people in position, because Bishop's brother-in-law, Pastor Dave, Mother Liam's brother-in-law, her sister's husband, right? He was in position. He said, not a problem, we'll check protocol, make sure everything is all right. And he actually did the ceremony for us, but not by the bedside. There's a large statue in Johns Hopkins. Oh, they got pictures. There's a large statue of Jesus at Johns Hopkins Hospital. And we told him that's where we want to renew our vows, right there. I was wheeled down. Who took me down? Who wheeled me down? Oh, gracious. I can't forget Bishop Liam's son-in-law and daughter, Charles Jeffers II and Tony. What a blessing they were. They were a blessing to us. They met my wife up there when she got there, so there was support for her there. Pastor Evans had stopped by from Barbados and also gave more support. We had prophetess, Apostle Rita Johnson had stopped by for support. So there was prayer all around us. Even you have to excuse me for jumping all over, but this mine's all right. Actually, there was concern. There was concern that I might have suffered brain damage or a stroke because of the condition that I had. But even when I was in the hospital bed, I could feel the presence of the Lord there. I told Rez, I'm telling you, because I will be facing this, I said, there's someone else here. I feel it. I feel that presence of someone looking down on us. That angel just kept an eye on us. But we thank Charles and Tony for all they did for us. Tony will come with her book. She'll be writing down what the doctor said and then explain it to us later. And anyone who came to visit us, they did not leave unless we had prayer. And if the doctors are in there with us, they link up with us also. Prayer with everyone. But we were able to renew our vows. I was in my wheelchair, and I was able to stand beside my wife of 25 years and renew our vows. And then we had a surprise. Thank you. Go back up here, Bishop. Reception. We had a surprise reception for us upstairs office, cakes, cookies, non-alcoholic wine. It was a grand time with us. And I also have to say that during my time in the ICU, when I wasn't awake, I was very frantic. They had tubes on my throat, tubes all over the place. I had weights on my arms, so I couldn't move my arms. And every now and then I get frantic and move around quickly. And the doctors would tell my wife, just go whisper in his ear. And just by her voice, it would just settle me. I didn't remember her speaking in my ear. I didn't remember my wife being there until I awoke. But they said when she spoke into my ear, it just settled me. You better settle me over 25 years. And then to learn again how to walk the simple things of sitting, the correct way of getting up, right? You know, there's a way of getting up, a proper way of rising up so you don't damage anything. So don't forget, if you're sitting in a position, my wife had to help me up. 1, 2, 3, and up you will come. So imagine, I said sitting, so there's other places that you sit, right? So there's also toilet bowl. She's got to come in and help me get up off of that. So like I said, pride's going out the window. We ain't worrying about nothing else. My first bath with the nurse. That's the end of the pride. But and that was the first time I had seen my body when I went across the mirror, and the scissor cut, I broke. I looked at myself and it was like unbelievable. I couldn't believe this. This is what happened to me, and I thank you for all your prayers. I had a couple of surprise visits while I was there. I'm not afraid to cry, I'm gonna tell you now. All I went through, crying is mild. Right? I can't give God enough praise for what He did for me. I had a dear friend of mine who had come up, Terry and Carla, and they actually came up and take Rose out, like, just to get her away from me, because she needed a break. Right? Come on, let's go shopping. Hey, women, shopping. Right? So they took Rose to some shopping, brought her back to me, and it's amazing how you get attached to someone so much, because it was like, oh, where you been? What's happening? You know, she would get on, she was getting me breakfast. I'm saying, look, don't take too long, because when I was in ICU, she wasn't allowed to stay there. But when we moved up to rehab, she was allowed to stay in the same room. And even in the cardiology area, I had a hard time sleeping nights. So they said, well, what will make it easier for you? I said that my wife would sleep in the bed with me, right? So they said, no problem, we'll arrange it. They closed the curtains off, and it was just a matter of having my wife to cuddle with, right? Because once I went to sleep, she'll leave. But I got that from her, whereas I was able to cuddle and sleep, and it made a big difference. It was an emotional time for me, and even sometimes she would get up nights and play music for me just to soothe me. There was one song, it's a song by Richard Smallwood, Hold On, Don't Let Go. That song got me through, right? Because all I was doing was hold on to God's hand. As much as we hold on to His hand, sometimes we try and push it off, but He wouldn't let me go. And that made a big difference to me. God was there the entire time with me. And I say He did not let go of my hand. Prayers I had also with regards to a haircut. I was looking pretty bad. I didn't realize what condition I was in until I saw the videos and the pictures like 3 or 4 weeks after I got in. I didn't realize I had looked that bad. Bird, hair, everything was just a mess. And I kept asking Rose, look, call him, because when we were coming home on a Saturday, I want to get hold of Ricky. And this is not a commercial for Spencer's Barbershop. Right? But I want to get hold of Ricky and have him meet me at the house after 7, after he finishes up, so he can cut my hair. I was looking at coming to church the next day, but we had different plans. I couldn't hang. And I kept telling him, did you get hold of Terry to call Ricky? Like, what's happening? You didn't get him. We were leaving on this Saturday. On the Thursday, so little child knocking on my door. I said, Rose, get the door, someone is out there. It was Ricky's daughter. Ian was Ricky to come here and cut my hair in Baltimore. Look, mate, come on, let's go. Took me in the bathroom. Threw a sheet around my neck, cut my hair, and left. Have a good day. That's what friends are for. See you later. And ask Lord to bless him, to cover his business, but that wasn't necessary, but he did that. I'm just glad for all of you who have come tonight. No miracle outdoes another miracle. But what God's done in my life, this is simply amazing. I am not, according to men, I am not supposed to be standing here. But God has other plans. He's a good God. God is good. That's what my father used to tell my wife every time he called up there checking on me. God is good. God is good. He told Bishop when he saw him, God is good. He saw me in my weakness, my daddy. And he saw me in my strength. I'm sorry about it today. But he saw me in my strength before he laid him to rest. Yet again, I thank each and every one of you for your prayers. Both saints and sinners. Because we know that God hears the sinner's prayer. Right? And the amount of people who were praying for me, unbelievable. People who would stop my sister in the streets, who she never realized they knew she was my sister. Unbelievable. I thank all of you. I love you all. Hey. I thank you for coming out tonight. Hopefully we'll see you again. And hopefully nothing like this, but hey, 11 o'clock Sundays. and like I said, when you got somebody like Bishop Lamb on your side, right? Awesome. Thank you yet again. Bless you, thanks. Thank you, now take out the money, please.
Tonight, we have had...
I'm sorry, the reason... I don't like cutting no bishop, sorry. The reason we have these shirts on, that my wife threw clothes on to go to the hospital with me, or to go to the hospital. This is what she pulled out of her drawer and put on. Miracles. Yeah.
I wish you would just honor God tonight. Right where you're standing. It's not now about what church you belong to. It's not even about whether you are saved or unsaved. But because you were exposed tonight to the miracle-working power of God, I think you ought to be able to open up your mouth and give God some real praise. This may be the last opportunity that you would have, because you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. You heard Philomena's testimony. You heard the testimony that came from Josephine. You've heard the testimony that have come from the Pauls. And you've heard the testimony that has come from Randy. What more do you need to get you to begin to serve a living God right now? What more do you need? Because what happened to them could happen to you. Could happen to any of us. I don't believe that this service is about just telling you. I believe it's about God giving you an opportunity to get yourself lined up. Since you don't know what's going to happen, since you don't know when it's going to happen, since you don't understand even how to regulate your tomorrow. But you're here tonight. And if you're in this house and you need a miracle, because one of the greatest miracles that takes place is when he saves my soul, cleanses and makes me whole. A miracle of love and grace. So tonight, this is not, one thing about sickness and affliction, there's no play. It's all serious stuff. And I don't know if you have thought about it, but this service may have just been set up for you. Just to get you to a place of saying, I need a miracle. I need a miracle. Someone's here tonight who has received some news that's not so pleasant about your physical health. God still works miracles. In fact, there was a blind man, and he came to Jesus to get his sight. And onlookers asked, who sinned? Did he sin or did his parents sin? Jesus said, neither. But so that God in the time to come might be able to show his glory. That man was blind from birth until manhood, and he received his sight. Is anybody need a miracle tonight? I'm asking, do you need a miracle? Get real. Do you need a miracle? A miracle is that which you cannot do for yourself, but what God can do for you. He's still in the business. If you're here tonight and you would turn to him, I declare he won't turn